copied the naan bread recipe, and this is what we're going to make. At an Indian store you can buy packages of chutney. They're usually in the freezer. This one has been defrosting since this morning, but that's what it looks like. And you can also spoon some of this onto your naan to add a little flavor. So for your naan, we're cooking up some lentils, and I just used a cheat recipe for just some chaat that you can buy at an Indian store. It has a blend of spices. So it's basically a cup of this and 1 teaspoon of this. And I put it in this crock pot, so it's cooking up. In a couple of hours, it'll be ready to put on your naan. Go ahead, put it in the microwave and cook it for 40 seconds. Microwave, we need to make sure that it has the right temperature. If it's not hot enough, it will not activate the yeast and it'll do nothing. If it's too hot, you kill the yeast and it'll do nothing. So you need it to be between 105 to 115 degrees. It's very, very picky. You can tell that it's almost at 120 degrees, but it looks like it's at about 115 degrees, which is on the high side of things. So once you figure out the correct temperature, store it in whatever mug is there for the next person to use, and then take it back to your kitchen. Well, someone was taking care of the milk. Another person should have gotten your 2 teaspoons of yeast put into your bowl. Pour your hot milk in. You have to do this immediately. If you wait too long, then you're going to notice that it cooled down, and if it cools below 105 degrees, it's not going to work. And then just use your batter paddle to stir it up a little bit. You need to set this aside for 5 minutes and see if it starts to activate and get bubbly. All right. Now, whoever you send to do the flour, you need to make sure they understand their fractions. And remember, we're not packing the flour, we need to fluff it. If you pack the flour and push too much in here, then you're going to have a dry dough that does not work well. But while someone else is working with the milk and the yeast, another person is going to be working with the flour. And we need 1 3/4 cup flour. So this was 1 cup. I already put 1 cup in. Now I'm going to put in a 1/2 cup. And notice how I just fluffed that flour. And I'm not going to use my angle this way with the knife, because it has a dip in it. I'm going to use the flat edge of the knife so it goes straight across. This is a 1/2 cup, okay, that I put in, and now I'm going to use this amount, which is a 1/4 cup. So I put in 1 3/4 cup of whole wheat flour. Now I need 2 cups of white flour. So I'm going to go ahead and put my 2 cups into my bowl here. And this is running low. I prefer to use up all of this flour before I put more in, just because I want to make sure I'm using my old flour up. So I'll put more flour in here once I know this is kind of all used up. Okay, so I need to put in 1 teaspoon of baking powder and a 1/2 teaspoon of what's said as salt. The person that's working on this, they go to their kitchen. And then the person that's supposed to do the yogurt and egg, you take a look at this right here and just kind of stir it up a little bit, and then you want to get your egg and your yogurt in. All right, so some people can't have egg. Another thing we can use is 1 tablespoon of chia seed for those that can't have egg. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and put in 1 egg. And this does not go down the sink in the garbage disposal. You can put it in this garbage or the one in the front of the classroom. So this is a 1/3 cup. It's kind of hard to read, but you make sure you have the right measurement. You're going to pack it in. You want to pack in your yogurt, because if you have empty pockets down there, you're not going to have the right measurement. And then go ahead and take your knife, go and get off as much as you can. Go in and around like this, and then dump it inside. And you won't be able to get all of it, You'll try and get as much as you can here. And what you can't get out in a mug nearby, there should be a spatula to help you with the rest of it. So just work out as much as you can so you have the right amount of ingredients, and then go ahead and fill it up and do it one more time. Or if not that, at least use this. Try not to get the handle dirty and just stick it this way so that other people don't have to get their fingers dirty. So over here there's a special attachment for this bowl, and you need to twist it in place so it doesn't move. Attach your batter paddle, pushing up and in so it doesn't come off. Lock it in place. Go at a slow speed so it distributes your ingredients before we add our flour mixture. Okay, it's easier if you have two people. I'm trying to do this with one person. I'm holding this in one hand so it doesn't fall in there, and then I'm just going to dump this inside. Go ahead, take a look inside. This is what it looks like. I'm going to attach this back on and lock it in place and go slow, because if you don't go slow, the flour that's not absorbed in is going to fly all over the place. And we just want to get it well mixed. Now it's really hard for the machine to mix it because it's such a thick mixture, so I'm going to turn it off. Right, so unlock it and go ahead, lift it up. It's going to be very stiff and very full. You want to make sure you keep the dough inside the bowl, not falling onto the table. So use your rubber spatula. It's nice to have a partner to help you out. Okay. And just get out as much as you can. We don't want any of this going down into the sink. So the more you get out, the less clogged my sinks will get. So I got off as much as I could. Right, and then I'm going to attach my dough hook, and it goes on the exact same way. Push it so it holds itself in place. Lock it, and go ahead and turn it on. Now this is a very, very thick dough, and it's not always cooperative. It's supposed to roll into a ball, and I don't think it's going to want to. So I can try, and if you're looking in deep into this bowl here, I'm going to try and get the dough to go around that hook a little bit more. But I might have to do this by hand. Yep, I think I'm going to have to do it by hand. So my dough hook isn't working. Maybe you guys will have a little more luck with yours. So I'm going to take it like this, and I'm going to use the heel of my hand to push down. Okay, so you can push it in. Now you'll notice it's on my hand. It's getting a little sticky. So this is what I need to do. You can grab a bowl, like one of these kind of bowls, and put some flour in it. Just a little bit, like this much, and then just sprinkle. If you add too much flour, you're going to ruin it. Alright, so you just need to add a little bit of flour, fluff it around, and then flip it over so the flour gets to the bottom. And then when it's in the bottom there, you'll flip it and it'll get on this side right here. And then you just keep doing your dough, and it should come out to a right consistency. If you're not sure if it's the right consistency or not, then check with me. It shouldn't be too sticky, but it shouldn't be too dry. If it's too dry, it'll start separating apart and it will not attach itself to the main ball again. And then we have to add some milk. You're not allowed to add milk. You need to ask me if it needs milk or not, and then I will add it, because I know what I'm doing and it will less likely ruin your project. Okay? So you're supposed to use the dough hook for about 3 minutes. If you have to do it by hand, take turns. Not one person has to do it. You get 2 or 3 people because it gets tiring. But you'll need to do it for about 5 minutes then. So keep an eye on your time. Alright, once you have this, you're going to have a container that you need to put this in. And this container needs to have a label. This is Kitchen 5, period 1. I'm going to have, that says in your recipe you need a 1/4 teaspoon. I'm going to have a 1/4 teaspoon of oil that I'm just going to pour in here like this and stick it in. You don't need a lot. The main reason why you need the oil, and you can take your hand and you can just smear it all around, is just so it doesn't get sticky or dry out. Then you put your dough inside and then you rub it in the oil on all sides. Just get it all the way around and in there. Okay? And you don't want to put your lid all the way on either, because the gases from the yeast that's growing is going to make the lid explode. So just try and seal 3 ends and leave an opening here, and I'll take care of it until the next time you see it. You've got it labeled and you've got it sealed somewhat. Go under the flag, put it here, and I'll put it in the fridge when I get a chance. Alright, so this dough that we just put in here, I want you to see the size of it. And then this dough has been sitting for about an hour and a half. And see how it's doubled in size? That way you know your yeast has been activated and it's working just fine. Alright, so you're going to punch down your dough and then you're going to divide it in half. How many equal parts do we want this dough to be into? 8. Okay, so I'm going to divide it in half again. That gives me 4. This gives me 8. And if you have 6 people in your group, then you have 2 left over to pass out to teachers. Alright? So you should have enough, but you're going to take your dough like this and you want to roll it out as flat as you can. And it's going to be kind of a teardrop shape. Alright? And once you get it to where the thickness that you want, then you're going to put it on a cookie sheet, and then you have garlic over here, some diced onions, and some cilantro, and you can put none of it on. You can put all of it, or just a couple of them. And you just kind of press it in place, and then we're going to go ahead and put it in the oven. Even before we push broil, we need to look inside, and we need to put it on the top rack. So if this is not on the top rack, you need to get this on the top rack. This is about 6 inches away from the heat, and the heat rack is up there. Cookie sheets inside. Close your door to seal in the heat, and turn on your timer. Okay, to turn on the broil, don't push bake. You don't need that. You need to push broil and then push up. It'll go on the highest setting. And then turn on your timer and put it in for 2 minutes. Alright, so keep an eye on your timer, and you want to keep an eye on your bread. The broiler cooks fast. This isn't quite ready yet, so I'm going to put it in. 2 minutes wasn't enough. So I'm just going to add another minute and see if it starts to brown on the top. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and take it out. And I want to flip it this time because I want to make sure that the bottom has not burned. And just remember that anything metal is going to be hot. Okay. It's starting to cook. I'm going to go ahead and flip it, and then I'm going to cook this side, and then I'll check it and see again. And I'm going to turn the timer on for 2 minutes. It might need 3 or 4 minutes, but I just want to make sure it doesn't burn. Okay, so we just took this out of the oven, and it's brown on top, so I'm going to flip it over. And it looks like it can use a little more browning on here. So I'm going to go ahead and put it back in the oven for another minute or 2. So now you can see that they're browned on both sides. So you want to cancel and turn off your oven, or you'll lose a point when I do inspections.